Okay, so picture this. Someone hands you $100 and tells you to go build $1 million company. Oh, and you've only got 90 days to do it. Sounds like some crazy reality show, right? Well, this was a real-world, super high-stakes experiment to see if the American dream is actually still possible from scratch.
And this is the guy who put his money where his mouth is. Billionaire Glenn Stearns didn't just have a theory. He bet $1 million of his own cash that it could be done. I mean, talk about pressure.
And this is where it all started. That's it, a single $100 bill. He had no access to his famous name, his network, his fortune, nothing. We're talking absolute ground zero.
And the other huge catch? The clock. Just 90 days. Every single decision, every wasted hour could sink the whole thing. The pressure was on from the second it started.
It's a simple question, but seriously, think about it for a second. With $100 and 3 months, where would you even begin? This whole explainer is going to unpack the journey of someone who tried, and let me tell you, it is anything but a straight line.
So what was the game plan? Going undercover as Glenn Bryant, his first move was a classic hustle, flip a house. The idea was to turn a small real estate deal into about 40 grand in seed money, and that money would fund his real business idea, a barbecue restaurant called Underdog Barbecue.
But you know how it goes. No plan ever survives first contact with reality. Just as things are starting to get going, the entire foundation of his strategy is about to hit a massive wall. The budget for the house flip was set at a nice round $10,000. The plan was for simple cosmetic stuff, paint, flooring, maybe update the kitchen a bit. It seems totally manageable for a quick turnaround. And this quote just says it all. The problem wasn't cosmetic. Hidden away under the carpets was a huge mold problem, and Glenn was completely blindsided.
So this crisis hit him in two ways. It wasn't just the extra $5,000 that vaporized half his Reno budget, it was the 4 days of lost time. On a 90-day clock, losing almost a week to a complete shutdown is absolutely catastrophic.
So what do you do when your main source of cash is literally on hold? You pivot. You have to. And this is the first huge lesson here. A roadblock in one part of the business can't bring everything else to a grinding halt. You've got to keep pushing forward on other fronts.
This quote really gets to the heart of the mindset you need. It's not about avoiding setbacks. They're going to happen. It's all about how you bounce back. So while that house was being treated for mold, Glenn completely shifted his focus to other parts of the business. He didn't just sit around and wait.
A perfect example of this pivot was his pitch to a local brewer. The first time he went in, it was a total disaster. He pitched this huge, complex, 5-year national vision that just left them scratching their heads. So for take 2, he simplified. He made 2 super clear asks. Can we pour your beer, and can you make a house beer for us? It was focused, simple, and it actually worked.
So with the beer strategy getting reworked, another critical piece of the puzzle came into focus: building the team. You just can't build $1 million business all by yourself, and finding the right people is everything.
And this led him to a classic hiring dilemma. He had 2 main candidates for the pitmaster job. First, there's Christine. She'd run a restaurant before, so she knew her way around a kitchen. But her food wasn't quite up to snuff. Then you had Mike, a total barbecue nerd who knew his craft inside and out, but had 0 commercial kitchen experience. Who would you choose?
This quote reveals so much about his team-building philosophy. Beyond those 2 candidates, another person named Clee had no experience but had this infectious passion. Instead of just letting that talent walk away, Glenn literally created a new role for him as the restaurant's frontman, turning his personality into a key asset for the business.
So Glenn ultimately hires Christine because her kitchen management experience was non-negotiable. But look at this process. He doesn't just hire her and hope for the best. He immediately addresses the food quality by bringing in a competitor's barbecue, not to criticize, but to show her this is the target. Then he empowers her by asking if she's willing to adapt. It's direct, it's respectful, and man, is it effective.
Now, even with the team coming together and partnerships forming, we have to go back to the ticking time bomb at the center of the plan, the house. The foundation of the entire financial strategy is now on the verge of total collapse.
This timeline just shows how incredibly tight things are. The house has to be sold by day 63 to get the cash to launch the restaurant by day 76, and they have to be open by then to be ready for the massive Ribfest event on day 81. Each deadline is a domino, and they are all about to fall over.
And here is the brutal reality. After all the delays, with only 9 days left for renovations,
The house was an absolute disaster zone. The project was catastrophically behind schedule.
You can just feel the weight of that pressure in this quote. And the most ironic part is that Glenn's real-world expertise is in real estate, yet this one little flip is threatening to sink his entire project and make him fail on a national stage.
So this leaves us with a final, really important question. When the very foundation of your plan just crumbles, what's the right move? Do you double down and try to fix it, or do you abandon it and pivot to a whole new way forward? It's the ultimate entrepreneurial test.